both running backs expected to have big games.
3rd and 8. Carr feeling pressure in front of him, has his man. It's Cooper. Cooper inside the 10, into the end zone for the Raiders. Touchdown. 68 yards as Oakland strikes first.
And then caught, and Roberts trying to get away from Mager. He's down to the 10-yard line.
Roberts coming across the field, man coverage. Boy, the coverage is really good. Roberts gets really hurt. The throw is right on target. Could have been caught cleanly. Phillips.
Left and the Cooper singled up right. Carr looking for the end zone left for Michael Crabtree. He's got it. Touchdown! Raiders! Right away they come out and hit him. As he looked right, Tom, and came backside left to Michael
14. Josh McCown. The deep shot, Benjamin, intercepted inside the 15. It's Charles Woodson.
There he is, HOF, Hall of Famer. Now he won the Heisman, but unbelievable.
Ball skill for the roll the pocket right. Hit the numbers and then down the right sideline. A bomb for Amari Cooper in the back of the end zone. Touchdown!
Chargers have failed on the last 5 third downs. Rivers in the end zone. He's taken down for the safety.
Here he comes. He did a little game on the outside. They were going to try to have the outside Autry come inside. And what happened, just think now, they just switched Joe Barksdale from right tackle to left tackle. Something for him to get in position there. They don't play the defensive line twist right, and it gets a safety for the Oakland.
More time. On the money. Crabtree. Oh, they couldn't bring him down. Touchdown.
They lost him in zone coverage, and then he broke 2 tackles and walked into the end zone for the second Raider touchdown.
Crabtree keeps his feet and takes it in for a 36-yard touchdown reception. They throw to the 3 side, double screen to Cooper. A block from 10, 40, 30, 20, 15, cuts inside, 10, 5, touchdown! Raiders! 52 yards to Amari Cooper on a bubble screen. Beautifully blocked by the 2 receivers. Leg out from the gun. Osweiler in his end zone. Coming in back, almost got him. He fumbled the ball. The ball's free in the end zone. It's either going to be a safety or a touchdown. The Broncos recover it, and they do get the safety. The Raiders get the safety.
Khalil, with his long reach, was able to knock it. Jones in the backfield, and Carr goes to Taiwan Jones. Gets by Davis. Another missed tackle by Williams. Another missed tackle by Gilchrist, and he's off to the races. Touchdown.
He's not able to make the tackle. Now watch all these missed tackles. There's a missed tackle. Whoa. There's a missed tackle. Another missed tackle. This is sloppy football. This will drive Todd Bowles to drink.
You know, I felt I needed to talk to, our local media first. You guys are the, the eyes and ears of, Raider Nation, our Raiders community, to let you know, and let them all know that 2015 is going to be my last season playing in the NFL. Was it a tough decision? Kind of, but in a way, a couple of weeks ago, it hit me that this would be it. It was important for me to let Raider Nation know now. I originally, intended on, deciding in the off season, what would happen, but decided against that, being that this would be the last time, that I would be able to play in the Coliseum, and I felt it was only right that, Raider fans, my fans, fans that have watched me play for, a long time, that I let them all know that this Thursday night would be the last time in the Coliseum that I would be able, to run out there in front of our fans at home in the Coliseum. So there you have it. I've had a incredible career, man. Goes beyond words. I never intended on playing as long as I have. But this is the way it's happened, and I'm so grateful for it. I informed Mark Davis and Reggie McKenzie, Jack Del Rio, had a meeting with our team earlier today and informed them that this would be it. And there you have it, man. I'm very grateful that I was able to come back here and play for a second time around. It was a lot of fun. We didn't get a chance to accomplish what we would have liked to this year, as a team. But nevertheless, I had a great deal of fun playing, and still got a couple games left, to still go out and do what I've been doing all of my life. Yeah, it feels good. I mean, there's so many players that play this sport and other sports that would like to go out that way, playing well, doing what they love to do. And so, yeah, I feel very good about, the way I performed, not only this year, but, my whole career. It's the only way you're able to, play as long as I have is to go out there and perform. And, to be performing at the level that I have this year, man, it just makes it all that much better. Yeah, it's funny, man. I knew the morning of the Detroit game. I woke up that morning, and for whatever reason, I knew it. And it was weird, actually. But I knew it at that point in time that this was going to be it. Yeah, it'll be emotional. I've been emotional all day, really. So it will be that way Thursday for myself, for my family, friends, for Raidernation. I feel like, coming back here and playing for the second time, man, we were able to rekindle, something that we had, years ago. So it was really fun, man, coming back here and playing. So it'll be a pretty emotional day. Yeah. It was really hard. Talking to Reggie, talking to Jack, talking to Mark today, it was hard to get it out. And then getting up there in front of your teammates, and letting them know. So many of your teammates, they, throughout this year have talked to me about, next year, come back next year. I know you're coming back next year. And I would love to, because of what I feel about the organization, where I feel like it's headed, where it's going. It would be great to grow, with this group of guys. But, honestly, I think physically I could do it. My body has responded. But mentally, it's not there. It's not going to happen.
Certainly took some strides, Daniel Jeremiah. They went 7-9. That was their best season since an 8-8 short-lived Hugh Jackson campaign back in 2011. We think this is what the Raiders draft war room looks like. We tried to recreate it here in our set on Path to the Draft. What do you see as the needs here as you look at this board?
Well, let's just kind of go through the needs quickly, and let's play around some different scenarios here for the Raiders, what they could do with their first 3 picks. Offensively, I got to tell you, this roster looks pretty good with what they've done in free agency and the draft the last few years. Maybe they could get a young tackle to kind of pair up with this young nucleus they have along the offensive line. But that's nitpicking. Maybe a little more speed at receiver. And then you look down here on the defensive side of the ball. You could get some help here at all 3 levels of the defense. I think this is probably an area they will focus in this draft. Some options in this draft, too, because we have some depth at a couple of these spots. Let's run through a couple scenarios. You ready to roll?
All right, let's do it. Let's start at 14 here.
All right, let's go offensive line first. Talked about getting a young tackle. I love this offensive line. How about you get Jack Conklin here?
And you don't think that's too rich for him?
I don't think so. I think he's somebody you can plug and play at the right tackle position. He's going to bring a nasty attitude, something that Kelechi Osemele also brings to the table. I'd love to see them paired up next to each other. And then let's go ahead and take care of this linebacker position inside. We'll go Josh Perry here in the second round at pick number 44 from Ohio State. It seems like we spend so much time talking about Darren Lee, Andrew. We do not give Perry enough credit.
And I'm going to ask you the same question, but kind of in reverse here. You think Josh Perry is there at 44?
I think he will be there, and I think he'd be a great value for him. And then let's go here now in round number 3. Let's go to wide receiver Pharoh Cooper. One of my favorite guys to watch in this draft class. They pick him up at pick number 75. So you got Conklin, you've got Perry, and you've got Cooper. That's scenario 1. But now let's flip it around a little bit and go with scenario 2. They go corner, a big corner. You pair him up with Sean Smith, who you just brought over, William Jackson. And I know people say Houston, DJ Hayden, are they going to do that again? Totally different players. William Jackson, I think, would be a good fit for them. At 44, you get another wide receiver, Sterling Shepard. Talked about their need to get a little bit more speed at the wide receiver spot. He's somebody that can take the top off the defense. You get him here in round number 2.
And helps in the return game as well.
Exactly. And just an overall toughness. They are building a tough, physical team. And just don't let the size fool you. Sterling Shepard, a very physical, tough football player. There you go. There you go. And then now let's come back in round number 3. Let's get our safety here. So we've really fortified this secondary with 2 of the first 3 picks. You get Jalen Mills out of LSU, who has some of that versatility. I think you can drop him down. He can cover as well. But I got to tell you, Reggie McKenzie doesn't need to be watching us and looking at scenarios. He's done a very good job of rebuilding this entire roster. I like these 2 scenarios, but I have an idea Reggie McKenzie might have his own thoughts.
And we don't know what Reggie thinks. We do know his first selection, barring a trade, does come up at 14. You mentioned DJ Hayden. Let's run through some of the selections Reggie has made since he took over that Oakland front office. And look, DJ Hayden has had some injury concerns. He was that first-round pick in 2013. Then you had a monster in Khalil Mack, who is truly an elite player at his position. 2015, Amari Cooper just lit it up last year. Yes, he had some drop issues, certainly, but Amari Cooper seems to be the real deal as they went wide receiver last year.
Oh, here's the question. Khalil Mack, Derek Carr, Raiders MVP in 2016. Who you got, man?
Well, you go with the most important position in the National Football League for me from the standpoint of quarterback. And obviously he's a tremendous player, but I'm going to go with Derek Carr from the standpoint of here you have a young man who's continuing to grow, and he is ascending. When you look at the numbers, last year, 32 touchdowns, 13 picks. Love that touchdown to interception ratio. Yep. I also like the gunslinger aspect of what he's doing. And players, Sterling uses this phrase that I can't steal from, are actually solid. It's discretionary energy.
Okay.
He's getting that out of those wide receivers because this guy's giving me a chance. I'm going to make sure if he puts that ball in harm's way, it's either I'm catching it or it's going to the ground. And that's what players will appreciate about their quarterback.
Yeah, I think Derek Carr, and I'm with you, I think he's an ascending player, but I think the identity of this unit offensively is going to be more focused on running the football behind that big physical offensive line. You know how Jack Del Rio is. You know his mentality, what he wants to do. They want to pound you. They want to intimidate you. I think the Raiders are trying to get back to what they were of old.
So a defensive guy going defense with Khalil Mack and an offensive guy going offense with Derek Carr.
What a surprise. Both, though, Derek and Khalil have grown and jumped tremendously from year 1 to year 2. So great arguments for both. Both, of course, meaning so much to Oakland.
Just here on NFL HQ. We're playing a little more or less, and we're talking Oakland Raiders, Elliot, silver and black. And we're going to start with you, Derek Carr. 32 touchdown passes a year ago, so more or less for our brother of David Carr.
I am disappointed. We couldn't get a stick mic.
I know, a long one, Bob Barker style, yeah.
Come on.
The music.
I'm going to go more.
Okay.
I think 34, 35 for him. I think the Raiders are still going to have to rely on him to win some games, partially because what we talked about last hour, Jay, with the running game being a little bit of a disappointment. I still think it's on Derek Carr.
Yeah, 32 is a lot, but I agree more. And you look at Derek Carr and Amari Cooper and what they're going to be able to do together, becoming one of the best tandems in the NFL. Yeah. They're going to have to put up points. So we talked about their secondary earlier and how they have to find replacements there. So they're going to have to play catch up sometimes, and they're going to put up a lot of points. That's going to come through the air.
Yeah, he progressed so much from year 1 to year 2. You can only imagine what year 3 is going to look like. Amari Cooper totaled 1,100 receiving yards 2015, more or less in 2016, Elliot.
Well, I have him for more. I think Jay's got him like being an all-pro already. I don't know. You seem very high on him.
I am.
1,100 yards just isn't that impressive anymore to me for a wide receiver, given the way the rules are, the way the quarterbacks are throwing the football, and that you could just throw it over the middle with no problem, which you couldn't do 10 years ago. So to me, given what he did last year, I think 1,100 yards is a drop in the bucket as long as he stays healthy.
Amari Cooper can do anything. He can run the underneath routes. He can go up high. We saw that on the tape right there and get the ball. He can do everything you ask as a receiver, take the top off. 1,500 yards, I would not be surprised this year at all.
All right, look at the hamstrings on that guy. The numbers, they will certainly follow. Now, Khalil Mack, he has numbers. He finished last season 15 sacks. He checked in at number 13 in our list of the top 100 players. Second in sacks, only to J.J. Watt, who racked up 17. So, Elliott, more or less than 15 in 2016.
Man, I thought about this, and
Long and hard, huh?
I can't believe I'm saying it, but more. You know, it is so hard for a pass rusher to get more than 15 sacks in back-to-back years. But every time I have underestimated him, last year I wrote in an article, hey, Khalil Mack's been good, but he hasn't been playing at all-pro level. So, of course, that week he goes into Denver and single-handedly decimates their whole offensive line. 5 sacks. I mean, he literally, of all the games I watched last year, I would say that was the one game where I thought one player won that game.
And, you know, year one, he had how many sacks? 4.
I can't
from 4 to 15.
I can't take away from how good he was because he was phenomenal last year. But 15 sacks is a lot. And they're going to slide protection towards him. They're not scared off the other side. The Raiders have done a good job in the offseason and the draft of trying to find people to mirror him on the other side.
Bruce Irvin.
But they're going to try. Everything every offense does is going to be based on Khalil Mack. Where is he? Find him. Don't allow him to get to the quarterback. I don't see him getting quite as many sacks.
And you said you didn't want to shortchange Mack. I don't want to shortchange J.J. Watt because he had 17 and a half sacks a season ago. Not 17. Sorry about that, J.J. Sorry.
Jay, I'm going to ask this next question to you because Sebastian Janikowski, 4 of 5 field goals from the 50-yard line range. That is impressive. Is he going to have more or less than that in 2016?
Well, I'm going to go with less, even though he's still got a cannon for a leg. He has since he was back in high school in Florida and college at Florida State, but they're a better team now. So they tried a lot of long field goals when they were not a good team. They were like, hey, let's try a 60-yarder. We'll put Janikowski out there. He's got the leg. But as you get better as a team, you're going to be a little more prudent. You're going to pump the ball. You're going to play a little bit more strategic football and game management. You're going to try less field goals, I think. Plus, he's getting up there a little bit in age.
Wow, I'm surprised you're saying. Well, first of all, I've got less, but I'm looking here. I mean, you know, your quads, I see a little bit of atrophy, Jay, but not a ton. I mean, if you can still go out and do it, he's a couple years younger than you, isn't he?
He can still do it. I think it has more to do with the team than it does him in particular.
So as you get older and even though your legs are stronger, is it harder to be accurate on those longer kicks?
I found that it was the opposite. Because you've done it so long, you get grooved in and you stay at 80%. I mean, my longest kick was towards the end of my career. And you just understand how to do it better. It makes it easier to do your job.
Your longest career kick, 61 yards to
That's right.
be correct. All right, now let's talk about wins and losses. They were not hinged on 61-yard field goals, but last season the Raiders, they finished, they're 7-9, Elliott. So what do you say? More or less than 7 W's this year?
I got them more. I think the AFC West as a whole is going to be stronger, but I think the Raiders are going to be stronger than their division's going to be stronger, if that makes sense. Denver, I still look at them being competitive. Of course, we see their schedule there. All-important game against the Broncos at Denver. That was the Khalil Mack game, by the way. The 5 sacks was at Denver.
Yeah.
I think San Diego is going to be a lot tougher out than they were last year. And, of course, Kansas City. But we're only talking about being better than 7-9. I don't see why the Raiders can't win 10 games. 10 games may win the division.
I'm with you. I go more. I think they are going to win the division. I think this team takes major steps forward. And you look at Denver, who's their quarterback? You know, is it going to be Mark Sanchez? Or who are they going to go with? That's a big question mark for that Denver team, even though they got a great defense coming back. But I think this Raiders team takes the steps and the necessary steps that they need. They win the division, win at least 10 games.
Well, they more than doubled their win total from the year previous. They went from 3 to 7. So maybe if they double their win total, they'll win 14 games.
But let's take a look at Khalil Mack, who was 2 spots higher than Von Miller versus Von Miller. And you can see Mack higher in tackles for loss. Miller higher in quarterback hits. As you guys say, if you want someone to rush the quarterback, you take Miller. But sacks, 15. Even Von Miller said we're 2 different kind of players. Does that explain these numbers?
And here's why. Von needs you to cover a little bit for me. Mack, I need you to rush and get to the quarterback. That's what he means by 2 different kinds of players.
And you look at now and think about that. You said that Von had more quarterback hits, but Von is going to be taken out of a lot of rush opportunities because he's going in those passing situations. He's dropping back into coverage, and he's still getting to the quarterback more. So that's something you have to take into account as well. And then the other thing is just not moving around as much. You can game plan for a guy when you know where he's going to be.
Mack can play in 2 types of defenses, 3-4 and a 4-3. Yeah, he can do that.
Now, I'll take them both.
I have a feeling.
He'll play outside linebacker.
I have a feeling that this debate is going to continue on Twitter long after this show wraps.
So with that being said, let's turn our attention to Hall of Fame DB Rod Woodson. Rod, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely. The pleasure's all ours. And let's start in Oakland, where you're currently the team's DB coach. Now, the Raiders, they lost another great Woodson to retirement, of course, this offseason. That's Charles Woodson. So just how big of an impact did he have on your defense, and how are you going to replace that production?
Well, you know, I think the biggest thing is where are you going to replace the leadership? I think leadership is very underrated in the National Football League. You don't think men should be led by other men, but I think sometimes certain people just are great leaders that can motivate people in and out of the classroom. And I think that's where we're going to really miss Charles, is that he was a really good leader. He knew when to speak, when not to speak. And then we need one of those younger guys, Khalil Mack or somebody like that, to step up to the forefront and be our leader on our defense.
You know, it's funny you mentioned about leadership. You know, that's why I appreciate, kind of what Coach Del Rio has done, having former players such as yourself that are working with these young guys. Ken Norton, it seems like it makes a big difference. When you look at a guy like Khalil Mack, it just seems like he's just scratching the surface on how great he can be.
I think you're absolutely right, Jamie. Khalil's a very good young man, and I don't think he even knows how good he really can be, because I think he respects his opponent so much and he's such a nice person. But I think once he clicks in, when we played Denver last year, I think once that mindset clicks in that he knows he can overpower any offensive lineman in the National Football League, he's going to be a dominant player. He was this past year, and I think he's just scratching the surface how good he can be.
Hey, Rod, I know I was talking to Derek when he first got there, and he's talking about your guys' coaching staff, and I asked him about him. He said, I don't know how good we're going to be, but if our coaching staff gets in a scrap at the 50-yard line, I think we're going to be all right. Because you got Ken Norton, you got Jack, you got you. I mean, you get the battle shirt on, so I know you guys are ready, man. So I talk enough about my brother. Can you just give us a little nugget, how training camp went, how mini camp went, and looking into training camp, what's it look like?
You know, one thing I love about your brother, Mr. Carr, is that he's a great leader. For a young person, he has an old soul.
Yeah.
And I think he's just starting to understand how to really play the game. He has all the physical tools, and he's gifted to throw the ball all across the football field. And I think he's starting to realize his weapons and who they are, and how to trust them, and how to trust his arm, and how to trust the system itself. And I think he's just scratching the surface also how good he can be. I mean, he had a great year last year. He's thrown a lot of touchdowns already, being in the National Football League for a couple years. But I think once he realizes that he is that good, he is the leader of that offense, that his sky's the limit.
Rod, Chris Canyon here. My former teammate, Kalichi Osemele, came over there to help you guys out on the offensive line. Can you talk to me a little bit about how that group is coming along, what you're seeing from them?
You know, what I love about him is that he got some dog in him. He got a little, not crazy dog, though. It's the tame dog. You know, a happy dog is a trained dog. And, he has that dog in his neck, which is kind of nice to see. And that offensive line is a really good line. I mean, they're big, they're powerful. They're protecting the quarterback. But, if on paper, if they're going to do everything that they're capable of doing, when you see those guys step off the bus, you're going to be scared to play against those guys because they're a big bunch.
Absolutely. Osemele, Mack, Carr, Rod, what do you think? 2016 Raiders MVP, who is it?
Well, I don't know who's going to be the MVP. We just know that if you work hard, you do the right things. Jack Del Rio has done a wonderful job of being our leader and to put in the mindset of those players that there's no secret to success. And if you want to be a good team, you got to work hard. We're going to coach effort first, and if everybody plays hard and they just work hard and during the season when training camp starts in a couple weeks, then we'll have a pretty good year.